This is video number 2 on the deceit of the harvest, how harvesting can be deceitful and the impact of that. And just wanted to add that the attitude that we have when we get to harvest, well, it sounds kind of strange if we get to harvest a human, meaning in the sense if we get to so-called save a human being, which normally we don't get to do. As I mentioned, well, sometimes firefighters will save a person, police will save a person. Some of us, even as individual citizens, may have an opportunity to save someone from a dangerous situation. But as far as saving them, their whole being, and turning them in the right direction, and seeing them succeed, and saying, "Oh, hey, I succeeded in that." I mentioned previously the sequence of the harvest, sort of the law of the harvest, the sequence of the harvest of sowing and watering and cultivating and reaping. And when we say harvest, normally we think of the reaping when somebody goes out and they come back in with a lot of good stuff. Some great apples, maybe some good wheat, or if you're not necessarily all for gluten, etc. Well, some good potatoes from the garden, or whatever you harvested. That's what I think about reaping from the harvest. But the harvest is simply one point in a phase of a series of activities, and our attitude. What can our attitude be if we do get to, for example, observe someone who comes around who somehow is part of our role in their lives. They become better, or maybe their lives become better, or their future becomes better, whatever. How do we feel about that? Well, we can get conceited and we can take credit for it, or we can be humble and thankful. We can say, hey, I'm not going to be arrogant about this. I realize that many forces are at play, and I'm just happy that I got to see the harvest, and I got to be privileged there, and I actually give thanks and praise for all the influences and the people that helped ultimately bring this harvest about. So that's my input on harvesting. And of course, I'm talking again in the context of the previous video on the deceit of the harvest. That we can sometimes kid ourselves and think we did everything and we're the big cheese. I'm talking specifically in the context of triage, as I mentioned in the previous video, that and that we'll touch upon in a subsequent video. But that in life, sometimes we have to make choices about who can be saved and who can't. And one thing I would like to say about saving is that I said in the previous video that we can't save anybody, but we have a tremendous responsibility to save those we can. And what I mean by that is that we really can't save, I don't think, someone who is an adult, someone who is their own person already, that they've reached a certain age where, hey, they're responsible for their actions, their activities, and their decisions. But we certainly have a tremendous responsibility to do what we can for kids from the time they're born until, well, whenever, but especially from the time they're born until the time they're about 5, at least those crucial years. We have tremendous responsibility, and if we fail that responsibility, evil enters in. As Jesus said, it would be better for us that we have a millstone hung around our necks and that we get thrown into the depths of the sea than that we cause any of these little ones to stumble. And the way I understand that for myself, or apply it to myself, is that we cause them to stumble, or allow them to stumble when we could have helped them not to stumble. So that's the context of triage, and we can see a little bit later how the triage and harvesting all fits together. And I did make reference to a book called Stop Walking on Eggshells, which has influenced my thinking a lot. So that's it for now.